We are here at the Daytona International Speedway for the second event of the Daytona Speed Weeks, the Daytona Clash. These are 18 cars who managed to win at least one playoff point last season, and they're going to compete it out for 5 season points and 5 playoff points. Now let's take a look at the Daytona Clash format for today's race. There will be 2 segments of 9 cars. The top 3 move on to the final stage, the middle 3 move to the upper last chance qualifier, and the bottom 3 will move to the lower last chance qualifier. Segments of final stage will be 6 laps, the lower LCQ will be 2 laps, and the upper LCQ will be 4 laps. Cars will go 3 wide on lap 3 and 6 in the segments and final stage, and in the LCQ, the final lap. Now, in case you haven't seen, here are the Clash eligible drivers. It is Austin Dillon, Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Jimmie Johnson, Ryan Newman, Brad Keselowski, Alex Bowman, Daniel Hemric, Clint Bowyer, Joey Logano, Eddie Gallagher, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Martin Truex Jr., Eric Jones, and William Byron. They all won at least one playoff point last year and will compete in today's Clash. Now let's take a look at your Pro Gear Tire drivers to watch for today's Daytona Clash. Austin Dillon got some momentum for today's race after he starts on pole for the Daytona 500. He starts 6th today in the Clash as we see his Daytona 500 qualifying run. He got a really fast time, and he's going to hopefully carry that over to the Clash and the Duels and the 500. Can he possibly get a win here today in the Clash? Brad Keselowski was your Daytona 500 winner, and he starts 16th here today. He didn't really get a chance to qualify, as this was the qualifying results are determined by a random draw, but look for Brad Keselowski to work his way to the front today and have a chance to win here at the Clash. Ryan Blaney is on pole today, virtue by a random draw. He's hoping to keep that car out front today, as he was the 6th fastest qualifier in Daytona 500 qualifying. He's hopefully going to get a win here today and turn that into momentum for the rest of Speed Weeks. And Daniel Hemric, he has won at Talladega last season, and he starts out on the outside pole for the Daytona 500. He also will start in the back. He starts 17th. Look for him to be strong today and work his way to the front. Now let's head trackside for the Command to Fire engines.
Miss Words in Motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshal, the Bush Guy.
Daytona! Are you ready? Drivers, start your engines!
The command has been given, the engines have been fired, and we are ready to go racing here at the Daytona Clash. Your pace car driver today is the Lucky Titan. He is driving in the Corvette Grand Sport. Now, if you want to be a pace car driver, be sure to comment in this video, and you may be chosen as a pace car driver for the next race. Now we are ready for segment 1 of the Daytona Clash to begin. In row 1, we got Penske teammates Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano. In row 2, in the 08 for today's race, it is Kyle Larson, and in the 9 car, it is Chase Elliott. In row 3, 2 other Hendrick cars, we got William Byron and Jimmie Johnson. In row 4, it'll be Ryan Newman and the other Penske teammate, Brad Keselowski. Then rounding out the field is the outside pole sitter for the Daytona 500, Daniel Hemric. Which 3 drivers will win and move on to the final stage? What a first segment of the Daytona Clash, as we're going to take a look at all of this. On lap 1, Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano led the field down, and it looked like Blaney got a good push from Larson, but then he ends up getting turned, and it looks like William Byron ended up leading lap 1. So William Byron, Ryan Newman lead, and then Ryan Newman gets a huge push by Hemric. He gets over pushed. Hemric tries to pass, but Newman blocks him and leads lap 2. Then on lap 3, Newman gets a heck of a run on the 3-wide lap, but Logano gives a huge push to Blaney. but Blaney ends up hitting the wall, so Newman takes lap 3. Then on lap 4, Newman and Blaney lead the field down, with Newman being pushed by Hemrick and gets a really good push as both those two cars break away from the field. Then on lap 5, it was Newman and Hemrick leading, with Brad Keselowski and Ryan Blaney in the second row. Both cars give a good push, but Hemrick was able to lead the lap. And going into the final lap, it would be Hemrick, Newman, and Blaney in the 3-wide lap, as Newman would get a good jump until Hemrick would get it. Hemrick tried to block, so Newman goes low, and Newman will take this segment win. But Hemrick and Keselowski will move on to the final stage. Will join Ryan Newman in the final stage. Great job by him to avoid contact and to make it to the final stage. Ryan Newman finished first, Daniel Hemrick second, Brad Keselowski third, Ryan Blaney fourth, Kyle Larson fifth, Chase Elliott sixth, William Byron seventh, Joey Logano eighth, and Jimmie Johnson in ninth. Now we move on to the final segment, segment number 2. We got your pole sitter for this segment. It is Denny Hamlin and Clint Bowyer. Then in row 2, you got your Daytona 500 pole sitter, Austin Dillon, and then Eddie Gallagher. In row 3, you got Ricky Stenhouse Jr. and Martin Truex Jr. In row 4, you got Alex Bowman and Eric Jones. Then rounding out the field in the 35 North Star car, it is Daniel Suarez. Clint Bowyer managed to outlast Austin Dillon and win segment 1 as you take a look at this. As in lap 1, Eddie Gallagher gives a great push to Clint Bowyer, which gives Clint Bowyer the lead in lap 1. Then lap 2, Martin Truex Jr. to the outside of Clint Bowyer, and he stays side by side with him until he ends up getting turned. So Clint Bowyer ends up leading lap 2 as well. Then you got in the 3-wide lap with Dillon and Hamlin, as Dillon gets a great jump and would lead lap 3 with Hamlin staying in 3rd. Then lap 4, Bowyer to the outside of Dillon. Bowyer gets a great jump with a push by Bowman. Bowman gets spun out, kind of, and then Bowyer was able to lead lap 4. Then heading to lap 5, with Dillon to his outside. Bowyer's getting a push by Eric Jones right here, and that ends up propelling him forward and leading lap 5. And then heading into the final lap, the 3-wide lap, he is in the inside to Austin Dillon and Eric Jones. Dillon looks like he has the run until he tries to clear Eric Jones, but ends up clipping him and ends up killing his momentum. Clint Bowyer finishes first, Dillon second, Eric Jones third, Denny Hamlin fourth, Martin Truex Jr. fifth, Alex Bowman sixth, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. seventh, Eddie Gallagher in eighth, and then Daniel Suarez in ninth. Now we move to the lower LCQ, which these are the cars who finished 7th and 9th in the segments. In row 1, got William Byron and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Row 2, Joey Logano and Eddie Gallagher. Then in the final row, row 3, Jimmie Johnson and Daniel Suarez. This is only a two-lap race, and the top 3 will move up to the upper LCQ. In this short lap segment, Jimmie Johnson was able to come on top, and Joey Logano and William Byron will be joining him in the upper LCQ. As you look at lap 1, what a move. Joey Logano moves William Byron up the track, and Logano and Johnson go low to take 1-2. And lap 2, it's side by side for 1 and 2, as Jimmie Johnson barely edges out Logano, and William Byron is barely going to edge out Eddie Gallagher to take home the 3rd spot and move up to the upper LCQ to have a chance at moving up into the final segment. Very close, as Eddie Gallagher just lost out on the third place. Jimmie Johnson first, Joey Logano second, William Byron third, Eddie Gallagher fourth, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. fifth, and Daniel Suarez in sixth. Now we move to the upper LCQ. In row 1, you got Ryan Blaney and Denny Hamlin. In row 2, Kyle Larson and Martin Truex Jr. In row 3, you got Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman. Then in row 4, your lower LCQ winners. You got Jimmie Johnson and Joey Logano. Then rounding out the field is William Byron. This will be a 4-lap race, and the top 3 cars will join the other top 3 cars in the segments in the final stage. What an upper LCQ that was, as Ryan Blaney leads the field down in lap 1 and manages to take a huge lead, as Truex is going to start on the outside in lap 2. Lap 2, Blaney and Truex with Bowman pushing Blaney, and it turns out that Joe Gibbs' teammates get a good push at first, but Ryan Blaney manages to charge back up to the front. Then in lap 3, here come the Hendrick cars, as the Hendrick cars give Martin Truex Jr. a huge push. Martin Truex Jr. overcorrects it and spins out on Blaney. Then the lap 4, you got 3 Hendrick cars leading the field. Jimmie Johnson to the outside, he gets a run and manages to block Chase Elliott and William Byron, and Blaney and Larson manage to sneak on by to move on to the final stage, as Blaney finishes first, Larson second, Jimmie Johnson third will bid the final spot, Chase Elliott fourth, William Byron fifth, Martin Truex Jr. sixth, Denny Hamlin seventh, Alex Bowman eighth, and Joey Logano in ninth. Now we move on to the final stage. In row 1, we got 2 Fords. You got Ryan Newman and Clint Bowyer. In row 2, you got the 2 RCR cars that are going to sit in the front row, Daniel Hemrick and Austin Dillon. In row 3, you got Eric Jones and Brad Keselowski. In row 4, you got Ryan Blaney and Kyle Larson. Then rounding out the field in the 48 car, it is Jimmie Johnson. Now, who will win the Clash and win 5 playoff points and 5 regular season points? Ryan Newman will take the Clash win and win 5 regular season points and 5 playoff points as we take a look at the replay. Newman pretty much dominated this race with Hemrick. He gets a huge push from Hemrick in lap 1. Then lap 2, this is the only time where he fell back, as Hemrick, Bowyer, and Dillon get a huge run and managed to pass Newman, and that put Ryan Newman in the second row for the 3-wide lap. In lap 3, then Newman just gives a huge push to Hemrick, and that's what gives him a shot back into this race as he moves into second. Then lap 4, you got Hemrick and then Newman. Newman gets a great push by Dillon and Bowyer, and that propels him to the lead as Hemrick tries to charge back, but it's not enough. Then heading to lap 5, Newman has the lead with Hemrick to his outside. Dillon's going to push Newman. And another good push, but Hemrick gets a good push from Johnson to give Hemrick the lead heading into the final lap. Then the final lap, you got 3 wide with Hemrick and Bowyer and Newman. Newman gets a good run by Johnson and Dillon, and ends up getting that push to take the win and get the win. We got Newman first, Hemrick second, Austin Dillon's going to finish third, Ryan Blaney, who's out on pole for today's race, finishes fourth, Jimmie Johnson, your reigning champ, fifth, Eric Jones 6th, Clint Bowyer 7th, Brad Keselowski 8th, and Kyle Larson in 9th. Ryan Newman's going to celebrate in victory lane with his team as he wins the Daytona Clash. Now, it's not a big reward but 5 regular season points and 5 playoff points is going to be enough to give him the points lead entering the season. As now we're going to take a look at your finishing results from the Daytona Clash. Ryan Newman first, Hemrick second, Dylan third, Blaney fourth, Jimmy Johnson fifth, Eric Jones in sixth, then Clint Boyer in seventh, Brad Keselowski eighth, Kyle Larson in ninth. Then you got your cars who didn't make it to the final stage: Chase Elliott, William Byron, Martin Truex Jr., Denny Hamlin, Alex Bowman, Joey Logano, Eddie Gallagher, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and then Daniel Suarez. Good runs for these guys, as this is definitely gives them some practice laps for the duels and the 500 for next week. Ryan Newman is your winner at the Daytona Clash. As next race, we got the Daytona Duels, and then it's going to be the Daytona 500. The Daytona Duels will set the rest of the field for the Daytona 500, and should be a good one. I'm A North, and I'll see you at the Duels.